Hello everyone, my name is Jordan and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working again in the Skywars series today, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Now I did some work off camera and I committed it under episode 4 pre, that's the commit message here on GitHub. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the changes here. So I made some changes here. That existed beforehand, I remember that. So, actually, is there a way I can just check? I'm sure there is, but I know what I did, so that's fine. I added this get games method right here just to access the game set, and I believe that's the only thing I did in the Skywars file there. The game countdown task, I changed the messages in here, so now they say you've been teleported and you'll be teleported to the game end instead of the game start. And then right here we need to do that still. Then I went ahead and created the game run task, which is the preparation state. This is where you could add kits and all that if you wanted to. I'm not going to, but you could, of course. So getting out of there. I changed the game class, and I changed the game team class. Even though we're not going to be, adding this in in the series, it's here if you want to use. But I made this is player method, and obviously this has to be implemented still, but this is just a way to check if a player is a part of this team. So implement that however you want. Again, I think I'm not 100% sure if I went over this, but I'm not going to cover making teams in this. You'll have to do that yourself, but it shouldn't be too difficult because all this stuff is going to handle it in a similar fashion. So going into the game, what did I do here? There's probably only a few things I did. Oh yeah, I changed this to I added preparation right here as a game state. And after that, I really don't think there was much done in there. So finally going into this last one in listeners, all of these were created or modified. So player death, player join, player leave. Player join was there before though. So player death, all we do here is just check and see if this player is a part of a game, and then handle it if they are, which I haven't fully finished that method yet, which is what we're going to do as soon as I jump into the IntelliJ here. So that's cool. If we hop over into player join, I'm just setting them to adventure. There's a few more things I want to do there as well. Player leave, right here, this just checks if they're in a game. If they are, it kills them, and then it gets handled by player death event once we finish implementing that. So, now that we're good to go and we're all set up on the GitHub and all the changes, let's go ahead and jump right in. So, first of all, we need to go ahead and, the one thing I just noticed now, we need to go into player join and do a check in here. We need to say, if we're in single server mode, we're not going to do, we're not going to, well, hold on. If we are not in single server mode, we can go ahead and set their game mode to adventure and set their health and all that because, that's okay. But if they are, if it's not single server mode, we don't want to mess with that because if they have other things on their server, it's a survival server and it has Skywars as an option, we don't want to mess with their health or items or anything like that. So we're just going to do some basic checks here. We're going to clear their inventory and so on. What else can we do here? Set max health. Whoops. Set max health is going to be 20, and then we're just going to say player.set health to player.get max health, so fully heal them. And then player.set food level, player.get max. No, that's not a thing. Well, let's set it to 25 because that will work quite well. Let's go ahead and also make a player or a food level change event class. We'll just say food level. And inside of here, we're going to implement listener. Whoops, listener. Why does it auto import all this crap I don't need? I don't know. Public void on food level change. Food level change event. And this will happen for any entity that's a human. So any human entity. So we're just going to go ahead and say, well, we need to cast this to a player, so we're going to say if event.getEntity instance of player, so if they're a player, Is that okay? I haven't done this. I haven't really done Java in so long that I was not sure if that's a thing. But apparently it is. So that's cool. So we're just gonna say player is going to be equal to player event.getEntity. So we have that player now. We can run through our game check in here, which I have conveniently already have. Let's go ahead and say private void handle food level change event and player. Actually, can I just say like event.set canceled true if the okay, hold on. We're just gonna go ahead and say if game dot is state game state dot active, or actually, can I just do that all in one line? Game dot. That's not a thing. That's unfortunate. I got excited for a second and thought we could do that. I know in some programming languages you can do it like that, but apparently not in Java. Okay, so if we're gonna say if we're in deathmatch or we're active in this game, then we're gonna loop through the players and check if actually, you know what? We need to confirm that this is not one of those modes, and then we're going to cancel this event. So it's essentially, I'm just gonna set this food level to 25. And event.set canceled true. Okay, so what this does, just to recap, it whenever the food level of any human entity changes, we're gonna check if it's a player. We're gonna find out if the player's in a game, and we're gonna make sure that game is not active or in deathmatch. And then we're going to make it so their food level stays the same if the game is not active or in deathmatch that they're in. So that's good to go now. I think that's pretty good as well. We need to teleport this one to this player to the lobby, I believe. So let's. Do we have like a single lobby point in our config? I can't recall. No, we don't. No, let's go ahead and say. Well, no. I think that's fine. We don't really need a lobby point per se. I mean, you could add one if you want, but I'm not going to. So, cool. Okay. So, game player... Oh, I added game player state, which is a thing in here. I haven't done anything with that. Although, okay, I feel like that was there before. Never mind. I think it's supposed to be like spectator or player. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. Okay, so let's finish handling this player death event. So we need to set their game mode. So we need to say set game mode dot spectator. I also want to pass through this game so we don't have to access it again through that bulky method, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be moderately bulky if you have a lot of games running. So you could just modify that that check accordingly. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and say get players dot remove player. Need to have them as a game player. Rest in peace. How do I... Okay, hold on. If I go into game player here, can I instantly just cast? No, I can't, because it has all sorts of data in there that I want. Okay. Let's just go into, like, our game here. And let's say public game player get game player, and we're going to get it from a player. So we're just going to say if get players dot contains player, return... Well, hold on. For game player colon get players if game player dot is team class, you know, handle. Otherwise, yeah, there's just a lot of team stuff I'm not going to implement because it really would just be too much of a hassle, and I don't think it's that hard to do if you really sit down and do it. Okay, we're going to say if game player dot get player equals player. Forgot to finish this up here. Return player. We also want to do, whoops, return game player. Game player dot, why get name? Why is that a thing? Okay. Whoops. Now we want to do the exact same thing for the spectators as well. I believe they are also, yeah, they're game players. And if we get all the way down here, we can just say null. Cool. So let's handle player def in here. We're just gonna say game dot. Well, we can say game player equals game dot get game player from the player. Or it's to say if game player does not equal null, just to be safe. Although it can't be null in here, it's best to just, you know, confirm. Then we're just gonna say game player. Well, we need to say game dot get players. Actually, we need to say switch to spectator game player. So we need to make this method now. We need to say get players dot remove game player, and we need to say get spectators dot add game player. So they'll, once they die, they'll just turn into a spectator with spectator mode and all that stuff. And I think that should be good. I don't really think there's a whole lot to do there. Player joins, sets them to adventure and all that. Yeah. Well, we should probably make a lobby point actually, just for making sure they're in the right spot when they join. So config, well, okay. You know, it's not that hard to set, so we'll just go ahead and say lobby point is where players will be teleported when they join the server if single server mode is true. So lobby point, you know, we can just say x, you know, 0, y, 0, z, 0. We'll set this to be like 120, 125, whatever. Okay, so I can't remember where, oh yeah, that's right, the lobby point. My phone just went off like 4 billion times and I had to take care of something. Anyway, let's go ahead and get that position right here. So we're just gonna say int x equals 0, int y equals 0, int z equals 0. And then we're just going to try and catch something. So we're just going to say catch, I don't know, any exception at all. And then we're just going to say, what should we do here? We should probably, no, I'm not 100% sure on what I want to do. Maybe okay, let's just print to the console saying, you know, couldn't teleport to lobby position. So we get logger.severe, or, okay, I was wondering why that wouldn't come up. Lobby point failed with exception. Ex, and then we'll just say ex.printStackTrace. Okay, I'm back for the second time, although no one's noticing this because there's cuts in the video. Anyway, let's go ahead and set up these points properly. So we just need to say x is going to be equal to skywars.getInstance.getConfig, and then we just need to get int lobby-point.x. I think that's what it is, right? Lobby point, yeah. I don't know. Can we have dashes in that? I wonder. I've never tried using dashes in config, so we'll see if that works. That'll be a very interesting experiment. Anyway, oh, we need world in there as well. So we just need to say world colon. We'll just say world to the default. So we just need to say string world, and world is going to be equal to Skywars. Okay, can I just like copy paste this again? Okay, world, and then get string. World. Okay, so now let's just say player.teleport new location to be bucket.getWorld world x, y, z. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so now that they're teleported and we're good to go there, let's go ahead and okay, so they're teleported. What else do we need to do? I think that's good. Let's run this game task now. So we're just gonna say new game run task. It needs an instance of our game here, and then I think that's good. Okay, so now we've instantiated that. We need to run it now. How do we? Okay, so Oh my gosh, I have not done like Bukkit in so long, or at least, you know, enough to really be able to do it reliably. It's like, let's get scheduler, right? Dot get server dot get scheduler dot run task. Yeah, run task. So we're just gonna say Skywars dot get instance. Whoops. Okay, so now that task is running, this one's canceled. We can exit out of that. That's never going to be run again. Preparation, this will set it up properly. Okay, so now right here, as soon as it's set to active, that's good, and they can start killing each other. So what else do we need to do? Let's lay out some things. So, well, actually, first, let's make sure all these listeners are registered, just so I don't forget that and be confused as to why later. So we have 4. So we have player leave, player death, and then food level. Okay, so now that those are registered, let's make a little checklist down here. Oh, hey, we already... That's kind of sad. We already have that. Okay, let's just kill that one. That's fine. We need to handle... well, what do we actually need to handle? Chests... filling chests. That's not that hard. Filling chests. What else? End of game. Whoops. End of game. And border. I guess that might be possible. Okay. So I think after that we might actually be done. Of course there is debugging and so on. Okay, so I think we are going, let's tackle filling chests. Oh, and then, whoops, basic, listeners, block place, etc. Okay, so that's just a note, so I know that that has to get done. Okay, so let's actually handle filling chests, because this is a really interesting one, and I really love it. So let's go ahead and say chest interact. So implements listener. So I'm not actually 100% sure on the events to call. I think it's inventory open event. So, okay, yeah, that should be it. So inventory open event. So there's a few things we need to check here. So we can actually get this inventory. We need to check if event.getInventory is a chest in. Whoops. Is it a chest inventory? I don't. Hold on. No, that's odd. No, okay. I'm going to quickly check my other projects to see how I handle inventories and chests and so on. Because I know there is a way to do it because I've done it before. Okay, so it's actually player interactive event. It's not whatever I had it before, inventory open. And the reason for this is we need to go ahead and say if event.hasBlock, then let's say, and the... in the click block does not equal null, and the click block dot get state is instance of chest. Okay, so now that we're good, we can say chest is going to be equal to a chest, and then just cast it to the state. So now we have access to this inventory. We have get block inventory here, so we can fill this with whatever we want. So that's good. So we're just going to go ahead and go into config and say, I don't know, items. We should have this on a per game basis. And first of all, we need to check if the player is in game at all, just so this doesn't just happen randomly, because that would be a little strange. And there's also a few other things we need to handle. So let's go into game and say active game information, private set chest. Opened, and we will go ahead and make a getter for that. Okay, so we need to go ahead and do our normal game check. So let's just hop into like player death, take all this code, stick it right here. So we need to say public void or private void handle, and we need our player interact event, and then our game. So really, Okay, can I just like ignore the duplicate because that's like super annoying. I don't think that's possible, unfortunately. That's okay. So if this chest is now open, well, actually we need to take this code and stick it in the handle. Is there a way to just like, you know, haha, yes, I've gotten rid of the warning. That is seriously the most infuriating warning ever. I'll just do that just for the purpose of getting it to not be there. Anyway, now that that's good, let's go ahead and fill up this inventory with items. So inside of our game class, we need to go ahead and say, you know, private list item stack. I don't know, normal items. And then we need a private list item stack of rare items. I don't know, this is just an example. You could really tier this however you want. It's just, at this point, it's a matter of, you know, getting the items into the chest, and it's pretty easy to do that. So let's go ahead and say, well, actually, inside of our game in here, when we instantiate it, this is where we set up the normal items and rare item stuff. So all the way down here, we need to say, whoops, actually, it really wouldn't matter where we put it. Let's go ahead and say this dot normal items is a new list. No, oh my gosh, a new array list. I'm really rusty at Java, as I've mentioned probably 4 other times in this video so far. Okay, now that we have that ready, let's go ahead and load these items. So we need to say for string item colon file configuration get string list. Will that work? Yeah, it will. That's fine. This is probably going to be a very poor way to tier this, so I'm just, you know, I'm just doing it in a very basic manner. Of course, you can change this as needed, maybe add percentages for certain items and so on. My system right here is not going to end up supporting enchantments, which is, I know, is a big thing in Skywars, but that's okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and say get string list. Games dot plus game name plus normal items. So we need to go ahead and say this dot normal items dot add new item stack. And how can we load this in material? Okay, so we can say material dot value of item. And so actually we're going to say material. It's going to be to material dot value of item. And then we'll just set it up in here. And I want to try catch in here as well, just to say if the material doesn't exist, we don't want any crashing. So we're just going to say skywars.getInstance.getLogger. Again, severe, saying, well, we need to make this readable. So game name plus, we need to say tried to load item that doesn't exist. If I could spell, that would be freaking awesome. Okay, and then plus item. Cool, so now that that's good, we now have those loaded. We're gonna do the same thing for rare items. And there is a problem that I see really quick. So let's just say rare items. Okay, so the problem here is that we don't have amounts for certain types of items, right? So what we need to do inside of this is we need to say if material is equal to, well, I don't know, arrow. We'll just do it for arrow because that's one thing that will actually matter in the long run for this. Of course, other foods and things you may want to give other, you know, more amounts of this item, but, you know, you do what you want. I'm just doing this as kind of a courtesy. Then we'll say count. No, what's the ordering? See, I haven't done this for so long. Okay, amount. Type amount. Can I not use that? What the heck, man? Huh. I thought I'd... What? That's what I just did. Okay. It's a little strange. Oh, I need to create it in here. No, that's why it won't work. Okay, so if it's arrow, we wanted to set the count to be equal to, I don't know, 5. So it's just, you can see the problem in its solution here. It'll just go ahead and say, you know, if a certain type of item comes through, let's give it this count. Of course, you could change the system and make it work with the configuration file and let the server owner or operator set that value. But again, we're making this as basic as it can be while actually having a working game. So now that this is working, we can close out of this. We're all set to go. And we can go into handle here. Oh, one thing I actually want to add to this list is commands, because we need a lot of commands, and that's just going to be something I do off camera most likely, because, you know, I've done commands in all of my other series at least 17 billion times. So that'll just be viewable in GitHub, so that really won't matter a whole lot. Okay, so let's go back into chest interact. Now that we have everything ready to go, we can say, well, we need a percentage here. So we need to say random is equal to new random. We're gonna say if random.next float is, I don't know, less than 0.20, so a 20% chance of opening this rare item, or these rare items. Then, you know, let's fill this chest up with, I don't know, 5 of those items, or a certain random amount. So let's just say, well, int to fill is going to equal to random.next int, and we'll just say 8 is our limit there. And for these normal items, we're going to set 5 as our limit. So we need to go ahead and say, and again, this is not going to add air in between the slots, so this really wouldn't be very realistic. But again, it's basic. You can add the air slots in pretty easily. You know, use your brain. Anyway, let's go ahead and say for item stack. Well, actually, we just need to pick randomly. So we just need to say for int x equals 0, x is less than to fill, x plus plus. So it's going to iterate every single time we do this. So this is inside of our rare, so let's go ahead and say chest.getBlockInventory.add item new. Well, actually, we don't need to do that. We can say game.get rare items. Just create this getter here. And then we say .get, and then a random.next int game.get rare items size. So that's going to return a random item. It's going to do this 8 times. We can do the same exact code right here, except change this to get normal items, and then create a getter there. And then do the same thing right here. Okay, so that's good to go. And we need to, well, that's actually fine. So, okay, one more thing. We need to say if game.getOpened.contains chest return. We don't want to fill an already opened chest. So that's our tiering, and that's our chest system out of the way. Of course, again, it's basic. There are a few, you know, problems with it that would make it kind of lame, and people might not like that. So of course, change it and tweak it to what you want, and so on. Other than that, I think that's the end of the video. There are these things left to do, so I think I'm going to cover 2 more of these on camera and then some of them off, because I don't want this series to drag on too long. And of course, the code is viewable on GitHub. That'll be published right away along with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check out the GitHub, leave a like on the channel, and hit the alert button to see when I upload new videos. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.